I mostly read public domain books here on Glenn Reads Books to You, and they were written a long time ago, so they're usually racist, or sexist, or bigoted, but in there somewhere is a story, and that's why those stories are famous. Other times, I read works from independent authors, and they're delightfully not racist, but they might have adult language or adult situations, like, making sex. So that's your warning, but I'm sure you're grown up enough to handle it. Don't write to me complaining. Oh my God, I think I zoned out for a week. What the hell? It's you! You're coming into my house? Where were you? Where were you when I zoned out for a week? Oh my God, we're in my house. How do we end up back at my mansion? That's ridiculous. We were on a road trip. We're having a great time. And then all of a sudden I zoned out, and now we're back home. You gonna tell me why we got back home? How we got back home? No? You're not going to? You son of a... how am I gonna do the show? I'm not prepared for this. I thought we were still on the road. We're driving. We're going someplace. I think, where the hell? We were in Iowa. Oh, and you just took me north to Minneapolis. You son of a bitch. Oh, Jesus Christ. Is that the guy from New Jersey at the gas station? Oh my God, he's in the other room. What's he doing? Oh no! Oh God damn it, he's playing Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen. That's all they ever do in New Jersey, is just sit around listening to Springsteen. I heard that apparently there's North New Jersey and South Jersey, and that there's suddenly these people like, no, we're Central Jersey, which is like a Central Jersey truther. It's not a real thing, but they all can't get enough of Springsteen. Ever since he made the Minneapolis song, he's basically moved here. I saw he moved just down the street from me. He's got it, and I saw him walking around with like an I Love Minneapolis shirt, which doesn't exist. That's not a real thing, so I don't know where that's coming from. All right, well, I don't know how to introduce the show. I wasn't prepared for this. You apparently drugged me and then got me back to the mansion. Welcome. I'm not prepared for this. I'm supposed to be in a car right now. Welcome to the Glenn Reads Gothic Books to You podcast. Fun little bit where I tend to read in a mansion, and not just recording in my basement. I don't remember anymore. I'm not ready for this. This is where I read the hottest public domain books, short stories. This week we're going to continue to read Jane Eyre, an autobiography by Charlotte Brontë. Can you turn that down? Nobody cares. Oh, Christ. Want a little with the author? I hope so. It's I took the time to steal it from Wikipedia. Charlotte Brontë, born April 21st, 1816, died March 31st, 1855 at the age of 38. Hold on. Shut up! Was an English novelist and poet, and was the elder sister of Emily, Anne, and Branwell Brontë. I'd read fun facts, but God, that music's loud. How did they get back to it? Did you pick them up? Did you drug me, go back to New Jersey, pick them up, and then bring them to my house? For the love of Christ, I want the grandfather clock to go off so badly. I've never wanted the grandfather clock to go off worse than I do now. I need a White Claw for this. There we go. Oh, God, the song's restarting. Jesus Christ. How am I going to get that weird little gremlin out of my house? How am I going to get this song? Does he bring his own boombox? This is weird. Thank God. Okay, well, with that, why don't we go down to the library where we can read this book without that music playing in the background.
The streets of my hometown.
Oh, thank God. It's quiet down here. Oh, this is way better. Why'd you bring us back to the mansion? The whole point, we're supposed to get away from the mansion and have some fun, and you just brought us right back here. Do you miss the place? Is that it? Do you want to make this place more fun? All right, fine. Let's get into the story. What is it, chapter 12? The promise of a smooth career, which my first calm introduction to Thornfield Hall seemed to pledge, was not belied on a longer acquaintance, which was the place and its inmates. Mrs. Fairfax turned out to be what she appeared. placid-tempered, kind-natured woman, competent education, average intelligence. My pupil was a lively child who had been spoilt and indulged, and therefore was sometimes wayward. But as she was committed entirely to my care, and no injudicious interference from any quarter ever thwarted my plans for improvement, she soon forgot her little freaks, and became obedient and teachable. She soon forgot her little freaks. Okay. She had no great talents, no marked traits of character, no particular development or feeling of taste which raised her 1 inch above the ordinary level of childhood. But neither had she any deficiency or vice which sunk her below it. She made reasonable progress, entertained for me a vivacious, though perhaps not very profound affection, and by her simplicity, gay prattle, and efforts to please, inspired me in return with a degree of attachment and sufficient to make us both content in each other's society. I'm going to reread that because there's a lot of commas. She made reasonable progress, entertained me for a vivacious, though perhaps not very profound, affection, semicolon, and by her simplicity, gay prattle, and efforts to please, inspired me, in return, with a degree of attachment sufficient to make us both content in each other's society, period. That is a wild paragraph, but let's keep going. This par parenthesis, that's French, not looking that up, would be thought cool language by persons who entertain solemn doctrines about the angelic nature of children and the duty of those charged with their education to conceive them in idolatrous devotion. But I am not writing to flatter parental egotism, to echo cant, or to prop up humbug. I am merely telling the truth. I felt a conscientious solitude for Adele's welfare and progress, and a quite quiet liking for her little self, just as I cherished towards Mrs. Fairfax a thankfulness for her kindness, and a pleasure in her society proportionate to the tranquil regard that she had for me, and the moderation of her mind and character. Anybody may blame me who likes, and when I add further that, anybody may blame me who likes, when I add further, that, now and then, when I took a walk by myself on the ground, when I went down to the gates and looked through them along the road, You can't keep doing that. Or when Adele played with her nurse, Miss Fairfax made the jellies in the storeroom, I climbed the 3 staircases, raised the trapdoor of the attic, and having reached the leads, looked out as far over the sequestered field of the hill, and a long dim sky dash line, M dash, that then I prolonged for a power of vision which might overpass that limit, there's no period yet, which might reach the busy world, towns, regions full of life that I had heard of but never seen, M dash. And then when I desired more of a practical experience than I possessed, more intercourse with my kind, of acquaintance, there's still no period yet, of acquaintance with variety of character, then I was there within my reach, period. Wild! We have not had a paragraph like this ever. Is she already poisoned by corpse water as she's writing this at this point? Because she's just going crazy. I valued what was good in Miss Fairfax, and what was good in Adele, but I believed in the existence of other and more vivid kinds of goodness, which I believed I wished to behold, period. Okay, I can stop doing that now. I thought we were going into another one. Who blames me? Many, no doubt, and I shall be called discontented. I could not help it. That's just a colon. The relentlessness was in my nature, She's going nuts right now, and I agitate to be pained sometimes. Then my sole relief was to walk along the corridor of the 3rd story with an EY, backwards and forwards, safe in the silence and solitude of the spot, and allow my mind's eye to dwell on whatever bright visions rose before forward. And certainly there were many and glowing, to let my heart be heaved by the exultant movement, which, while I swelled in trouble, expanded with life, and, best of all, to open my inward ear to a tale that was never ended, a tale my imagination created and narrated continuously. Oh my God, there's no periods. I'm not going to do the whole comma, semicolon thing again, but this is tough to read. Quickened with all of an incident. This is a book, right now at this point in the book, you cannot read this out loud. This is tough. Life, fire, feeling that I desired and had not in my actual existence. It is in my vein to say human beings ought to be satisfied with tranquility. But they must have action, and they will make it if they cannot find it. Millions are condemned. Burp to a stiller doom than mine. Millions are in silent revolt against their lot. Nobody knows how many rebellions, besides political rebellions, ferment in the masses, which people of the earth, the women, they're supposed to be very calm generally, but the women must be men feel. They need exercise for their faculties. And in the field of their efforts, as much as the brothers do, they suffer from a too rigid restraint, and the too absolute stagnation is precisely as men would suffer, and as the narrow-minded and the privileged fellow creatures that say that they ought to confine themselves to making puddings and knitting stockings and playing the piano and braiding bags. Oh, I shouldn't be glossing over this. She's talking about how bad it is for women. Okay, well, that's my problem. I was mildly insulting there. I didn't mean to be. I just thought we were getting into details that were starting to bore me. But turns out she's talking about how hard it is for women. Thoughtless to condemn them or laugh at them. If they seek to do more or learn more than custom is pronounced necessary for their sex. Okay, well, I'm a jerk. I didn't mean to gloss over that. When thus alone, I not infrequently heard Grace Poole's laugh. The same peal, the same low, the slow ha-ha, which, when first heard, had thrilled me. I heard, too, her eccentric murmurs, stranger than her laugh. There were days when she was quite silent. And there were others when I could not account for the sounds she made. Sometimes I saw her, and she would come out of her room with a basin, probably full of piss, or a plate, probably with a turd on it, or a tray in her hand, and go down to the kitchen and shortly return. Generally, oh, romantic reader, forgive me for telling the plain truth, bearing a pot of porter. Is that a poop bowl? I'm not going to look it up. Her appearance always acted as a damper to the curiosity raised by her oral oddities, hard-featured and staid. She was at no point to which interest could attach. I made some attempts to draw her into conversation. She seemed to purse in a few words. A monosyllabic reply usually cut short every effort of that sort. The other members of the household, viz., John and his wife, Leah the housemaid, and Sophie the French nurse, were decent people, but in no respect remarkable. With Sophie, I used to talk French, and sometimes I asked her questions about her native country. She was not too descriptive of a narrative turn, and generally gave such vapid and confused answers as were calculated rather to check than encourage inquiry. Maybe she was never from there. And maybe she's turning the tables on you. October, November, December, passed away. One afternoon in January, Miss Fairfax had begged a holiday for Adele because she had a cold, and as Adele seconded the request with an ardor that reminded me of how precious occasional holidays had been to me in my own childhood, I accorded it, deeming that I did well in showing pliability at that point. Oh, yeah, it was fine. Calm day. Yeah, very cold. And I was tired of sitting still in the library through a whole long morning. Miss Fairfax had written a letter, which was waiting to be posted, so I put on my bonnet and cloak and volunteered to carry it to Hay. The distance, 2 miles, would be a pleasant winter afternoon walk. Having seen Adele comfortably seated in her little chair by Miss Fairfax's parlor's fireside, and given her best wax doll, which I usually kept enveloped in silver paper in a drawer to play with. Why'd you do that? And a storybook for a change of amusement. And having replied to her Renevez Benetoit, don't care. Mon Bonnie Ami, don't care. Ma chérie Medelle Jeannette, don't give a crap. With a kiss, I set out. More kissing. The ground was hard. The air was still. My road was lonely. Oh, I walked fast until I got warm. Oh, and then I walked slowly to enjoy and analyze the species of pleasure brooding for me in the hour and the situation. Oh, it's 3 o'clock. The church bell tolled as I passed under the belfry. And the charm of the hour lay in its approaching dimness and the low gliding and pale beaming sun. And I was a mile from Thornfield, in a lane noted for wild horses in summer. Whoa. Yeah, for nuts. And blackberries in autumn. And even now, possessing a few coral treasures and hips and haws. But whose best winter delight lay in its utter solitude and leafless repose. If a breath of air stirred, and it made no sound here, for there was not a holly, not even evergreen to rustle, and the stripped hawthorn and hazel bushes were as still as white, worn stones which caused wade in the middle of the path, far and wide on each side. Oh, there were only fields, where no cattle now browsed, and the little brown burrs which stirred occasionally in the hedge looked like single russet leaves that had forgotten to drop. The lane inclined uphill all the way to hay, which having reached the middle, and I sat down on a stile which led thence to a field, gathering my mantle about me and sheltering my hands and my mouth, and I did not feel the cold, though it froze keenly. It was attested by a sheet of ice covering the causeway, where a little booklet, now congealed, had overflowed after a rapid thaw some days since. I kind of have no idea what's happening right now. She's sitting by hay, I guess, trying not to be cold. From my seat, I could look down on Thornfield. The gray and battle-mented hall was the principal object of the vale below me. Now its woods, its dark rookery, rose against the west, and I lingered. I'd lingered till the sun went down amongst the trees and sank crimson, and clear behind them. I then turned eastward. Why was that so tough to read? I have no frickin' idea. Why don't we, take a break to relax my mouth and learn about the latest upcoming books of Penguin Random House in my basement. We're back home. Get in the basement. Oh, you drove. Well, you don't want to get in the basement? Then why'd you drive me here? Oh, yeah, you don't want to go in the basement. You drove me here, and now we're going to the goddamn basement. So now let's go to the basement where we can get away from upstairs where the frickin' weirdo from New Jersey is playing Bruce Springsteen and just babbling to itself like they all do in that state. They all sit around babbling to themselves in their apartments, their homes, in their cornfields, and just babble to themselves. So they listen to Bruce Springsteen. Why don't we go to the basement and get away from all that and just relax a little bit? Oh, there you are. Welcome to the basement. And you can hear, I'm playing the guitar. It's back. You dragged me home, and it's back. I'm playing the guitar again in the basement. Still can't make this a cool place for teens to hang out. It's really wet down here. Real wet. But why don't we learn about the latest upcoming book from Penguin Random House? Sky Daddy, a novel by Kate Folk. I don't care. There's a lot of praise in the beginning. Linda is doing her best to lead a life that would appear normal to the casual observer. Weekdays, she earns $20 an hour, moderating comments for a video sharing platform. That's pretty vague. And then rides the bus home to the windowless garage she rents on the outskirts of San Francisco. Sounds horrible. But the last Friday of each month, she indulges her true passion, taking Bart and SFO for a round-trip flight to a regional hub. Oh, the destination? It's irrelevant. Because each trip means a new date with a handsome stranger. A stranger whose intelligent windscreens, sleek fuselages, and powerful engines make Linda feel a way that no human ever could. She got like an airplane fetish? This is weird. Linda knows that she can't tell anyone she's sexually obsessed with planes. Oh, I called it. Nice. Nor can she reveal her belief that it's her destiny to marry, quote unquote, one of her suitors, uniting with her soulmate plane for eternity. But when an opportunity arises to hasten her dream of eternal partnership, when the carefully balanced elements of her life begin to spin out of control, she must choose between maintaining the trappings of normalcy and launching herself headlong toward the love she's always dreamed of. Both subversive and unexpectedly heartwarming, Sky Daddy hijacks the classic love story, exploring desire, fate, and a longing to be accepted for who we truly are. That's Sky Daddy by Kate Folk. It's a paperback for $18, starting in April 7th for Amazon, Barnes & Noble Books, MillionBookshop.org, Hudson Bookstore, Apollo, talking about it. I actually might read that. This is probably one of the few times where I'm like, that doesn't seem bad. I might read that. She gets turned on by planes. Sure, it sounds like, oh God, I forgot his name. The guy that wrote, like, Helicopter Man Bangs Dinosaur Billionaire. I forgot his name. But anyways, the author, it sounds like that, but like more subdued, more realistic, more sensual. Well, with that, why don't we go back upstairs? I mean, you can hang out down here if you want to. Apparently, you really were dying to come back to the mansion, to our wet basement. Why don't we, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go. You can sit here in that chair for a while if you want to. Gotta miss the road. Oh, yeah, finally made it back. Okay, well, good. You were down there for kind of a long time. What were you thinking about? Huh? You having some problems? Got some emotional issues? What are you thinking about? Okay, fine. Well, whatever. I am ready to hit the road. Do you want to go back out of the streets? No. You hate the noises, the sound effects? You hate? Okay, all right, fine. Damn, all right. I didn't realize that I was hanging out with a person who's just kind of like housebound, doesn't want to do anything. You ever gonna go to, you want to see France? Yeah? Do anything? Get out of your little bubble? No? All right, fine. Let's get back into the story. On the hilltop above me sat the rising moon, pale yet as a cloud, but brightening momentarily. Well, she looked over hay, which, half lost in trees, sent up blue smoke from its chimneys. Oh, it was yet a mile distant, but in the absolute hush I could hear plainly its murmurs of life. My ear, too, felt the flow of currents, and in what the dates and the depths I could not tell, but there were many hills beyond hay, and doubtless many backs threading their passes. Yeah, and the evening calm betrayed alike the tinkle of the nearest streams. And the sough of the most remote. A rude noise broke on the fine ripplings and whisperings at once so far away and so clear. A positive tramp, tramp, a metallic clatter, which effaced the soft wave wanderings as in a picture, the solid mass of crag, or the rough boles of a great oak, drawn in dark and strong on the foreground, effaced the aerial difference of a azure hill, a sunny horizon, and the blended clouds where the tints melt into tint. Well, the din was on the causeway. That last paragraph, I have no idea what's happening. The din was on the causeway. A horse was coming. The windings of the lane yet hid it, but it approached. And I was just leaving the stile. Yet, as the path was narrow, I sat still to let it go by. In those days, I was young. And all sorts of, fancies, bright and dark, tenanted my mind. The memories of nursery stories were there amongst the other rubbish, and then they recurred, maturing youth, adding them a vigor and vividness beyond what childhood could give. As this horse approached, and as I watched it to appear through the dusk, I remembered a certain Bessie's Tales. No, wherein figured a north of England spirit called Guy Trash. Gytrash, which, in the form of horse, mule, or large dog, haunted solitary ways. Guy trash sounds awesome. And sometimes came upon belated travelers, as this horse was now coming upon me. No, maybe it's guy trash. It was very near, but not yet in sight, when, in addition to the tramp, I heard a rush under the hedge, and close down by the hazel stems glided a great dog. Ooh, is that dog also guy trash? Whose black and white color made him a distinct object against the trees. It was exactly one form of Bessie's guy trash, a lion-like creature with long hair and a huge head. Oh, it passed me, however, quietly enough, not staying to look up, with a strange, predator canine eyes. I'm going to look up predator canine. That seems weird. Like before canine? There's no definition. Okay, fine. That's just a word she made up. In my face, as I half expected it would, the horse followed. Oh, a tall steed, and on its back a rider. The man, a human being, broke the spell at once. Nothing ever rode the guy trash. It was always alone, and goblins, to my notions, though they might be attendant to the dumb caresses of beasts, could scarce covet shelter the commonplace human form. No guy trash was this, only a traveler, taking the short cut to Millicote. He passed, and I went on a few steps, and I turned. A sliding sound, an exclamation of, what the deuce is to do now? And a clattering tumble arrested my attention. Man and horse were down. They had slipped on the sheet of ice which glazed the causeway. The dog came bounding back, and seeing his master in this predicament, and hearing the horse groan, barked till the evening hills echoed the sound, which was deep in proportion to its magnitude. Nothing. Well, he snuffed around the prostrate group, and then he ran up to me. It was all he could do. Oh, there was no other help at hand to summon. I obeyed him and walked down to the traveler, and by this time struggling himself free of his steed. His efforts were so vigorous, I thought he could not be much hurt. But I asked him the question, "Hey, are you injured, sir?" I think he was swearing, but I'm not certain. However, he was pronouncing some formula which prevented him from replying to me directly. Can I do anything? I asked again. You must stand on one side, he answered as he rose, first to his knees and then to his feet. I did. Whereupon began a heaving, stamping, clattering process, accompanied by a barking and baying, which removed me effectually from the yard distance, but I could not be driven quite away until I saw the event. This was finally fortunate. The horse was re-established, and the dog was silenced with a down pilot. Call your dog Pilot. Give him a cool name like Stephen. The traveler, now stooping, felt his foot and his leg, as if trying whether they were sound. Apparently something ailed them, for they halted to the stile whence I had just risen, and sat down. Well, I was in the mood for being useful, or at least officious. I think for now I drew near him again. Are you hurt? And why help, sir? I could fetch one either from Thornfield Hall or from hay. Thank you, I shall do. I have no broken bones, only a sprain. And again he stood up and tried his foot, and the result extorted an involuntary ugh. Something of daylight still lingered. I love that she wrote ugh back at this time, and I use ugh on text messages on a pretty frequent basis. Someone says, "Hey, you want to get together Friday?" And I say, ugh. Hey, Trump did this thing, and I say, ugh. But I love this has been carried over for hundreds and hundreds of years. Something of daylight still lingered, and the moon was waxing bright, and I could see him plainly. Oh, his figure was enveloped in a riding cloak, fur-collared, oh, that's nice, and steel-clasped, okay, cool. Its details were not apparent, but I traced the general points of middle height and considerable breadth of chest. He had a dark face, with stern features and a heavy brown. brow, and his eyes and gathered eyebrows looked ireful and thwarted just now. He was past youth, but he had not reached middle age. So what does that make him, 35? Perhaps he might be 35. I did not know that ahead of time. I'm being honest with you. I felt no fear of him, and but little shyness. He had been a handsome, heroic-looking young gentleman, and I should not have dared to stand thus questioning him against his will and offering my services unasked. I had hardly ever seen a handsome youth, never in my life spoken to one. Are they rare? I guess for her, she's just like cloistered in these weird homes. Well, they're orphans. There's no handsome orphans to hang out with. I had a theatrical reverence and homage for beauty, eloquence, gallantry, fascination, but I had met these qualities incarnate in masculine shape. Oh! I should have instinctively known that they neither had nor could have sympathy with anything in me, and should have shunned them as one would fire, lightning, or anything else that is bright and apathetic. If even in this stranger had smiled and had been good-humored to me when I had addressed him, if he had put off my offer of assistance gaily and with thanks, I would have gone on my way and not felt any vocation to renew inquiries. But the frown, the roughness of the traveler, set me at my ease. I retained my station when he waved me to go and announced, "I cannot think of leaving you, sir, at so late an hour, and so in this solitary lane, till I see you are fit to mount your horse." He looked at me when I said this. He had hardly turned his eyes my direction before. I should think you ought to be at home yourself," said he, if you have a home in this neighborhood. Where do you come from?" "Well, just from below, and I'm not all that afraid of being out late when it's moonlight. Oh, I'll run over to Hay for you with pleasure, if you wish it. Indeed, I'm going there to post a letter." "Hey, you live just below." "Do you mean the house at the battlements?" Pointing from Thornfield Hall, on which the moon cast a hoary gleam. Hoary? Does it mean what I think it means? Grayish-white. Of a person, old and having gray or white hair. Okay, that just meant whore, but all right, fine. Cast a hoary gleam, bringing it out distinct and pale from the woods that, by contrast with the western sky, now seemed one mass of shadow. "Yes, sir." "Whose house is it?" "Mr. Rochester's." "Oh, sorry, Rochester's." "Well, how do you know Mr. Rochester?" "No, I've never seen him." "He's not resident then?" "No." "Can you tell me where he is?" "I cannot." "Are you a servant at the hall?" Of course. You are." He stopped, ran his eye over my dress, which as usual was quite simple. A black merino cloak, a black beaver bonnet, neither of them half fine enough for a lady's maid. He seemed puzzled to decide what I was, and I helped him. "I am the governess." "Oh, ow, the governess," he repeated. "Deuce take me. Deuce take me? If I had not forgotten, the governess." And again ran my railment, underwent scrutiny. In 2 minutes he rose from the stile, and his face expressed pain when he did not move. "Well, I cannot commission you to fetch help," he said, "but you may help me a little yourself, if you will be so kind." "Yes, sir." "You have not an umbrella that I can use as a stick?" "No." "Try to get a hold of my horse's bridle and lead him to me. You are not afraid?" I should have been afraid to touch a horse when alone, but when told to do it, I was disposed to obey. I put down my muff, and on the stile, and went up to the tall steed. I endeavored to catch the bridle, but it was a spirited thing, and he would not let me come near its head, and I made effort on effort, though in vain. Meantime, I was mortally afraid of its tramping 4 feet. It's 4 feet. The traveler waited and watched for some time, and at last he laughed. Well, that seems a great place to stop. Next chapter is coming up. Oh, God, no, there's more. Oh, God, there's more. There was a picture. I planned this whole thing out, getting to the end of the chapter, and it turns out I just got to the end of the part where they have a picture next, and now there's 9 more goddamn pages. All right, fine. I see, he said, the mountain, I hate this, will never be brought to Muhammad, so all you can do is aid Muhammad and go to the mountain. I must beg of you to come here. I came. Excuse me, he continued. Necessity compels me to make you useful. He laid a heavy hand on my shoulder and leaning on me. I thought this was going to be a short chapter, 9 more goddamn pages. And leaning on me with some stress, limped to his horse. Having once caught the bridle, he mastered it directly and sprang to his saddle, grimacing grimly as he made the effort, for it wrenched his sprain. Now, said he, releasing his underlip from a hard bite, just hand me my whip. It lies there under the hedge. I sought it, and I found it. Thank you. Now make haste with the letter to Hay, and return as fast as you can. A touch of spurred heel made his horse first start and rear, and then bound away, and the dog rushed its traces. All 3 vanished. Then a real small font, in quotes, like heath that in the wilderness the wild wind whirls away, unquote. Okay, little poem for him because he's so beautiful. I took up my muff and walked on. The incident had occurred and was gone from me. It was an incident and no moment, no romance, no interest in a sense, yet it marked with a change one single hour of monotonous life. My help had been needed and claimed. I had given it. I was pleased to have done something trivial, transitory, though the deed was, as it was yet an active thing, and I was weary of an existence all passive. The new face, too, was like a new picture produced in the gallery of memory, and it was dissimilar to all the other hangings in there. Firstly, because it was masculine, and secondly, because it was dark, strong, and stern. And I had it still before me when I entered Hay, and slipped the letter into the post office, and I saw it as I walked fast downhill all the way home. And when I came to the stile, I stopped a minute, looked round and listened, with an idea that a horse's hooves might ring on the causeway again, and that a rider in a cloak and a guy trash like Newfoundland dog might be again apparent. I saw only the hedge and the pollard willow before me, rising up still and straight to meet the moonbeams, and I heard only the faintest waft of wind roaming fitful among the trees of the thornfield, a mile distant, and when I glanced down the direction of the murmur, my eye, traversing the hall front, caught a light kindling in a window. Oh, it reminded me of that I was late, and I hurried on. I did not like re-entering Thornfield. To pass his threshold was to return to stagnation, to cross the silent hall, to ascend the darksome staircase, to seek my own lonely little room, and then to meet tranquil Miss Fairfax, and to spend the long winter evening with her, and only her, to quell the holy and faint excitement awakened in my walk, to slip again over my faculties the viewless fetters of a uniform, and to still existence, of an existence whose very privileges of security and ease I was becoming incapable of appreciating. Oh, what good would have done me at this time, and have been tossed to the storms of an uncertain struggling life, to have been taught by rough and bitter experience, to long for the calm amidst which I now repined. All right, whatever. Yes, just as much good as it would do a man try to still of a too-easy chair to take a long walk. Just as natural as was the wish to stir. Under my circumstances, it would be under his, and I lingered at the gates. Oh, I lingered on the lawn. And I paced backwards and forwards on the pavement. And I shuddered as the glass door were closed, and I could not see into the interior, and both my eyes and spirit seemed drawn from the gloomy house, and from the gray hollow filled with rayless cells, as it appealed to me, and to the sky expanded before me, a blue sea absolved from taint of cloud, the moon ascending it in solemn march, her orb seeming to look up as she left the hilltops, from behind which she had come, far and farther below her, and aspired to the zenith, midnight dark in its fathomless depth and measureless distance, and for those trembling stars that followed her course, and it made my heart tremble, and veins glow when I viewed them, and little things recall us to earth. The clock struck the hall. That sufficed, and I turned from the moon and the stars and opened a side door and went in. Well, the hall was not dark, nor yet was it lit. Only by the high-hung bronze lamp a warm glow suffused both it with the lower steps of the oak staircase. The ruddy shine issued from the great dining room, whose two-leaved doors stood open and showed a genial fire at the gate, glancing on the marble hearth and the brass fires, whatever, and revealing purple draperies and polished furniture in the most pleasant radiance. It revealed, too, a group near the mantelpiece. I had scarcely caught it, and scarcely become aware of a cheerful mingling of voices, amongst which I seemed to distinguish the tones of Adele, when the door was closed. Well, I hastened to Miss Fairfax's room, and there was a fire there, too, but no candle, and no Miss Fairfax. Instead, all alone, sitting upright in the rug and gazing with gravity at the blaze, I beheld a great black and white, long-haired dog. Oh, it's what is his name? It's just like the guy trash, that was the name I was trying to think of the lane. And it was so like that it went forward and said, "Pilot," and the thing got up and came to me and snuffed me. And I caressed him. And he wagged his great tail, and he looked at an eerie creature to be alone with, and I could not tell whence he had come. I rang the bell, for I wanted a candle, and I wanted, too, to get an account of the visit. And Leah entered. What dog is this? Well, he came with his master. With whom? With Master, Mr. Rochester, which he has just arrived. Indeed. And is Miss Fairfax with them? Yes. And Miss Adele, and they're in the dining room. And John has gone for a surgeon, for Master has had an accident. And his horse fell, and his ankle is sprained. Did the horse fall in Hay Lane? Yes. Coming downhill, it slipped on some ice. Ah, bring me a candle, will you, Leah? Leah brought it. She entered, followed by Miss Fairfax, who repeated the news, adding that Mr. Carter, the surgeon, had come, and was now with Mr. Rochester. And when she hurried out to give orders about tea, and I went upstairs to take off my things. Okay, good, so the chapter ended for real. Why don't we go down to the smoking room, where we can talk about what the hell we just read? Oh, well, there we go. God, it feels like it's ages since we've been here. Here in the smoking room. Go ahead and, why don't you, take a cigarette from that monkey skull there? Oh, I forgot. She's been feeding the birds. They're still alive. I kind of hope they die by the time we come back. But no, she's here in the house. She's feeding the birds. Go ahead. In that monkey skull, you'll see cigarettes. And you can have one of those. I don't care how old you are. And let's talk about what the hell we just read. Don't put your feet on the table. Yep. Thank you. Show a little respect. What do we learn? Basically, this chapter is just another hand-to-mouth kind of thing. Like, she's walking along because she's going to deliver a letter, and then she meets the handsome Mr. Rochester, and then he's real handsome, but he's, got his ankle hurt, which apparently is the most destroying thing for her. She's very upset about it, and he's upset about it. My God, he sprained his ankle, and he just get the doctor, which is so wild. I sprained my ankle back in, 2006, and all I did is just sit at home for a day and just put my leg up. Looked it up on the internet. Look at it. What do you do? Put your leg up. And then once I did that, then it's when I went to work, they had one of those weird little little scooters that you can put your knee on. So it's kind of like you have a cast on your foot. You can scoot around. They just had those in the building. Didn't even know they existed until I walked in, and the guy at the door said, "Oh, are you okay?" And I said, "No." And he goes, "You want a scooter?" And I said, "You have a scooter?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I was scooting into meetings. I was scooting around, scooting into the men's room. Everyone look out. And I scoot my little scooter, and I smack people in the back of the legs when they're standing at the stall. Like, get the hell out of here. It's mine. But anyways, that's kind of it. There's kind of nothing to review. There's no, as far as I can tell, there's no deeper message. There's no symbolism. There's kind of nothing. She's got a handsy boy that she's into right now. So it's kind of it. So hopefully things work out. Yeah. Got nothing. I kind of expected more from this story. Those paragraphs where she was just kind of winging it with the punctuation was wild to me. Kind of makes me want to write something where I just have nothing but M dashes everywhere and semicolons and stuff, and there's just never a period in the entire book. Well, with that, thanks for listening, and I guess you want to be at the mansion? I guess I'll see you back at the mansion next week. Do you think that thing is still upstairs? Oh, God, no. Oh, God, it's come downstairs now. Oh, and it brought its boombox with the goddamn music. God, go back to your own city. You're upsetting the birds.
Around this time of day, I start to think about a burger. If we get started now on foot, we should make it by 4:30. Yeah, we'll take the alley on Longview Trail down past the lake, right over to the flashing light. Oh, head down the Franklin to the greasy spot. It's the palace of meat and cheese. We gotta serve it while we're young.
You have to go home.
Yeah, we're going down to the Burger King. Maybe we should go over to Richie's Music. I could use a pack of banjo strings, and I hear they're gonna be closing. We could take the footbridge over 46 and then take a long stroll past Gardner Fields. Oh, if we stay on the shoulder, we should be okay. And by the time we hit the auto repair place, we'll be fine. 'Cause the people out here, maybe they don't know how to drive.
What, do you get, like, money for playing this song? Jesus Christ, just stop the song.
Beyond the hills of the borough, I can hear the drone of 80. Maybe if it rains tomorrow, we should go to the AMC. The Sizzler at the mall is pretty sweet, and I could use a good buffet. I want to soak up this county streets tonight, the streets of my hometown. I'm thinking for tonight we can sit on my couch and watch Mythbusters. We can walk over to the A&P and get some snacks to munch on. Together we'll go and take a dip. If it's warm enough, we'll float in that man-made lake. Oh, not the beach with the diving boards, but the one deep down by the railroad tracks. Yeah, if it's not busy. Maybe we can take our bathing suits off. Maybe we were born to swim. Yeah, we were born to swim and eat burgers. These tramps like us, we were from New Jersey.
Well, it appears you found me in the part of the podcast I hate the most, where I tell you all about the places on the internet where you can find me. You can tell I hate this because of the sound effects making it sound like a stormy night in the drawing room of the damned. Now, are you cool? I like cool people. It's the reason why I got involved in this business to begin with, just to meet cool people, not losers. So if you're cool, feel free to go over to my website, nuzzlehouse.com. Don't bother looking for us on social media because we've given it all up after the election with how evil everyone is from Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. I shut it all down. But you can find us on Blue Sky, nuzzlehouse.bsky.com. I don't know. We got a Christmas album on our website, which we should do. Everyone should do when they get married, make a Christmas album. We got Just Stay in the Curious Mind, where we make paranormal smut, Masterpiece Auditorium review books, and Two Things, One Cup with Elton from Elton Reads a Book a Week. And since I think you might be cool, you can always just email me directly. glenn.nuzzles@gmail.com. But don't email if you're a nerdlinger or a dork. Now, back to business. I can't believe I drank all of them already. There's got to be one left.